YouTube, this is Sinkay 101, and a while back I moved here, and I posted this on my other channel, but I never said it here. I was going to do a retro game thing for my stuff, and here it is. It's messy, but this is my little retro thing going here. I got games, a mess, of course the new gaming computer setup. My room is a god-awful mess right now. But it's early in the morning. I thought I'd make a video, and I'm gonna take a different thing on YouTube here. I feel like I've been doing YouTube wrong, so an excuse if the camera is kind of off or something, because I'm using my new GoPro, which I will do a separate video on that if need be, which I probably will just because it's cool. And I need to test it anyway. It probably looks awful in here because it's an outdoor sports camera, but I need to test it. And what better time? That's all I got too. So let's get started with tech. This is my bed, obviously, where I'm putting all this stuff. This is kind of just a beginning to retro stuff. I mean, I got a little bit more over here, like those. I don't know if you can see that. It's like the strategy guides, cheat books, stuff like that. Which I also have two there for Pokemon. Yeah. Alright, so let's begin. I do have retro games and stuff. I just don't focus on them usually. I went through YouTube assuming to become a video game commentator. That never really took off, obviously. I mean, it's not supposed to take off, but rather I'm really iffy about it. Like it's kind of complicated for me to make videos, and I think I could do better doing stuff like this. Like I do have a side of me. I do want to collect games and things. I just never got around to it, so to speak. And as you can see, a lot of these consoles, I don't know what that looks like on the camera, but they are pretty bad quality. Like that. This is all of my childhood, pretty much. Like all these were my childhood games. These are what's left of them. I have cords for some of them and stuff. They're just not all separated. That's what these boxes are, actually. Equipment and stuff for the consoles, which I'll get into. So to begin, let's start with Nintendo, Super Nintendo here. It's an alright shape. I mean, it's got some nastiness about it, as you can probably see in the camera. I don't know quality-wise because the lighting here is crap. But it needs to be cleaned, that's for sure. It works. I have played it in the past many times. I love the Mario games. So it's all functional, everything. All the switches are really good. And ports. And let's get into this. This is actually a mix. I should probably yeah, we'll start with the Super Nintendo. Alright, so here's all I really have left. I got this. A funny story about this. When I originally was moving, we were moving from my old house, and I found this in a closet box, and I thought, oh my god, my Super Nintendo. And the only game I had left for it was this, which that is awful shape. I really don't even remember what it is. I don't even think it was mine, but it was given to me by one of my siblings, cousin, I think. Yeah. That's all I had left, and I really wanted to play it again, so I went out and bought some games. This was the one I was after, Super Mario World, one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, but this is all I come across. I really want a better copy, but I went to a classic game store we have called Game Exchange, and this is what they had left, the only one. As you can see, it's taped. It's been busted in the back, which is why it's taped. The cartridge still works, and it's in bad quality, but I would love to get a better one. Like I said, I haven't had time to get with my game collection because college, I'm tight on money. Like, most of my money is financial aid and stuff with Pell Grant. So when I can afford to get games, I usually get them for the PC because I game on that mainly. But we'll get into the PC later. Next, I have Zelda, The Link to the Past, which I didn't really play too much. Well, I didn't even notice that. Carl Ford family. That's who used to own this. I didn't play this a whole lot when I was a kid, but I did take interest into it later in life after playing Wind Waker on the GameCube. Voice crack. And I actually, when I bought this, I tried playing it, and it was fun, but I kept dying at one part. I don't remember when, but yeah, and so I got irritated. I found a cheat that was able to beat the whole game by just walking through the world. I don't remember how you do it anymore, but I did do that once, so I have to beat the game through cheat. I'm just walking through it. And another one, Super Mario All-Stars, another favorite of mine. I found this at another, like, we have a shop called Game Exchange, as I was explaining, and there's actually one across the street, which is where I got this one from before I moved. It used to be called Crossfire Games, but now it's Game Exchange. This is another favorite of mine. I really love the Mario games, if you can tell. This is 6 in all now, or wait, 4 or 5 in all. And yeah, I just really love Mario All-Stars because it comes with the originals and stuff, and the lost levels, which I find very interesting. And I've actually only beaten like 2 of them, so, and I have beat Super Mario World, so that's another game. Another one. This actually, oh, that's actually kind of a breaker. This one, I said that was my all-time favorite, Super Mario World, but this one may take the cake. I really love this game. I have not seen anybody, I've looked, I haven't seen big reviews or anything of it that I can remember, but I think this game was really good. I don't know. Like, for a Super Nintendo game, this was just amazing. It was, you had to play it all in one sitting, of course, because there was no save feature, unless you had the genie, which I did not. But it is a great game, and I really want to review this. Like, I want to review games. I'm going to try to start reviewing some older stuff, and I think this will probably be the first I launch into with a Super Nintendo, because it's just such a great game in my opinion, and I've played it so many times. Only beaten it twice, but I play it just time to time when I'm bored. It's very fun. I would recommend nowadays play an emulator, because you can actually save with an emulator, but yeah, those are very fun games. And that's pretty much all I have for Super Nintendo. Like I said, my classic game collection is not big. I just have what I had as a kid. I plan on getting it bigger later, because there is, of course, a store across the street where I can buy a lot of this stuff. I can go back as Atari, I think they have. But that's all I have for the time being until I can get more money. Maybe after college I'll start doing more collecting. And now I'm going to jump up a bit. I think this is actually previous to the Super Nintendo. The Game Boy. The original Game Boy. Like, this one was black and white. I did enjoy handhelds as a kid, so I have some of them. It's in pretty good shape for the most part, given one flaw I'll point out in just a minute. I mean, it's kind of nasty looking, needs to be cleaned. Buttons are all working really good. I haven't actually tested to see if it still works, but the switch up here works. Yeah, the volume works. Now the flaw with it, there's no back for the batteries, so we had a hard time keeping up with the battery backs when I was a kid. I think I've only got one thing with a battery back. Yep, this one has a battery back. I'll get into that in a minute. I don't actually have any games for this at all anymore. I don't have a single Game Boy original game. So it's kind of sucks. That's really all I could say about that for now. So yeah, that's my Nintendo Game Boy I have. I really don't know what happened to the games. They were probably lost or sold. I can't remember which. So that's that. I need to get on some hardware actually here for the Super Nintendo. This is something interesting. This is actually one other thing I have for the Super Nintendo. Super Game Boy, which, if you don't know what this is, pretty much you'd pop it in here like so, put a Game Boy cartridge in there, and emulate Game Boy games onto your Super Nintendo. It was pretty cool. Get this out of here. There we go. And I use that often. It's nice playing on the big screen. Well, at the time, bigger screen. But yeah, that was my Super Game Boy. Now, controllers for Super Nintendo, I have 2. I have the original Super Nintendo controller, buttons all working, kind of wrapped up at the moment. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you're supposed to be doing this with controllers, but I always wrap my cords up. I'm probably stupid or something, I don't know how people say that. But yeah. And I have a weird, this is actually a mod controller. Let me let me unwrap this here. I'll try to do this with one hand, holding it and the camera at the same time. It's not like, I guess it's a mod controller. I had this as a kid. Like, my grandparents bought this for me, and I didn't know what it was as a kid. I really didn't know for the longest time until recently when I dealt with it. I found out these are all auto switches. So you see auto fire and stuff like that. Now, what does that mean? If you were playing like a, let's say you were playing Mario, and this is the jump button. If I push this on, Mario would start jumping repeatedly. It was very, very cool. It kind of annoyed in some games, but I guess it's like a mod controller is what you would call it. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. That is one strange controller I actually have. I'm kind of glad I have it because I really don't know where it came from, and it looks strange to me. I can't find one on the internet. I don't even know what it's called. A Pro Pad, I guess? SN Pro Pad? It's kind of cool. And it still works. Both these controllers still work very well. Very good. Let's see here. Need to pull out some other things. Oh my gosh, cables are all a mess. A definite mess in this box here. But Super Nintendo composite cables, plain and simple. Nothing really to say about those. Just plain and simple composite cable equipment. And I also have the oh wait, no, that's, I don't know which is which. I'll explain in a minute about that. You guys probably already know, but I'll explain why there's two sets for those who don't know. And here's the Super Nintendo plug-in. Very fat, big, obnoxious, and heavy. Alright. Now then, while we're on the Nintendo stuff, I will jump in really quick and do a quick thing on these before I jump into 64. Game Boy Color, I have two of them because my uncle was also, I grew up with my uncle more or less. He was really young, and he had stuff too. We all had our own stuff, and this one was actually his, which is probably, I was more young, a lot younger. I didn't care too much for keeping my stuff safe and protected and nice. So of course it's missing the back. I wrote my name on it. It's kind of gross. It's green because green was my favorite color for the longest time, and the screen's very scratched. That's that. And then this one is more better condition. It needs to be cleaned up a bit. But this was my uncle's, of course. He gave it to me because he doesn't do with this anymore. But the back is on it, surprisingly, which is a first, because he takes better care of the stuff than I did, or he did take care of it better. And so yeah, it's all working nice. They both work, surprisingly. I don't have any games for them, of course, as I said, but there they are, Game Boys. And I'll jump on this really quick because I don't even have any games for it either. The Game Boy Advance, I did get rid of all these games a long time ago because I was a trader for a while. Kind of regret it now. It also has no back. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, it is the Game Boy Advance. Pretty good condition besides the back missing, and it just needs to be cleaned. Still works. All good. It's all good. Anyway, that is the handhelds. Only handhelds I have now. Unless you count phones, which I don't. Now, the reason for two of these cables, if you guys don't know, whoever's watching this, you probably do, the composite cables were actually the same for the Super Nintendo and the N64. Very similar. You could take either one. These were both. One of these is for the Super Nintendo, and one is for the Nintendo, bear in mind, but they both are the same, literally. Let me just, plugs in perfectly, and also plugs in perfectly. Same with this, they will both plug in perfectly. The only difference between the cables on these, here was the, what is it called? Nintendo 64 plug. Really big. Now, let me get on this. Nintendo 64, we did have quite a few games in the past, not anymore. I gave a lot to my aunt. It's all working nice. We're missing this top piece. I know we're missing a lot of these. But we do have that, which came with a lot of games at the time, because a lot of games, they tried to keep the Nintendo 64 running for a long time. And this was made for specific games. It's a RAM extension, I think it was called. It would, what do you call it? it gave your games like it was more RAM for the console to run, and it came with we got it for we bought Donkey Kong 64, and it came with that. But yeah, so the console's very nice condition, or not very nice, adequate. Needs to be cleaned and everything like everything else. Still works very well, which is good. The only controller we have for it does not work so well. It's an off-brand controller. This stick has been chewed on by a dog, and it's very flimsy stick. I mean, the buttons don't work, and if I'm correct, yes, the cable was split at some point, bitten by a dog as well, and does not work at all. So this controller is actually crap, doesn't work. I keep it just because nostalgia. It was the controller we had, though. We don't have the original Nintendo controllers it came with, I don't think, because we did not get this firsthand. We got it secondhand from a store. And with this, I have one more piece. The controller pack. I don't remember exactly what it did. I'd have to look up what it did, but it sticks in the back right there. Pretty much. Let's see. I can't get that off. I'm not bothered to do it. But it goes in the back. I don't remember exactly what it did, like I said, but it did have a purpose. I just don't know what. I might get on that. If I ever do separate reviews of these consoles or something, I might get on that and tell you what it was for. Because I am kind of curious myself now, not remembering. On Nintendo 64 games, this is the only one I own as of current. It is NFL Blitz 2000. It was a very funny game for one reason, and there's the logo. Game Exchange, where we get all of our stuff. They're right across the street. Everything over there is retro. And the reason I have this game in particular, we had quite a few games, but my aunt has a lot of them now, or we sold them. But this game we never got rid of because we played it endlessly. For one reason, it was a very violent football game. If I remember correctly, it was like very violent. It was all about injuring people or something. Like, it was football, but you could do the stupidest crap. Like, my favorite feature of the whole game, you could act, I don't remember how we did it one time. We did something. We were running the ball. The enemy, rather, was running the ball to the other side of the field. Running it, I don't remember what they call that, field goal or something, no. He was running anyway, and we pounced on his back and rode him the whole way. Like, it was like a piggyback ride to the touchdown. It was really funny. And so I kept this game. It was just a good game. We actually didn't realize we had it for the longest time, but when I found it, I was glad, and I do want to play it again sometime, but I haven't had a controller to play it with, so I never did get to retry this recently. So that's that. Quick things I will pull out in reference to the Game Boys, which I totally ignored. These two things. I have this Brain Boy, which, if I'm correct, is actually a cheat software. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's a cheat software. Also, I have this. Actually, these may have been memory cards. Now I think about it. No, I think this was cheat. Excuse me. But this Mega Memory Card, this was actually for Game Boy. I think it was for the Game Boy Colors. Let me check here. This was. Yes, this was for the Game Boy Colors. You pop the game in right there. And it was to save your games, if I remember. It was like some games you couldn't save. It was like a Game Genie for the Game Boy Color. So that's very cool. I think this one was for this. Let me try it here. I don't remember correctly. I think it was, though. Quite possibly. Maybe not. I may be stupid. I really haven't messed with a lot of this stuff. It's all been in the closet for a long time. So I haven't messed with it a lot. But yeah. And one more Game Boy accessory. Who remembers these? It's the multiplayer for the Game Boys. We did do multiplayer for Pokemon. Pokemon fans. What you would do... Let me see if I remember how to do that. I don't remember what this is for, but pretty much you would take these cords and you'd pop them in right there. Okay. And here, and you had to be really careful, or these things will fall out and ruin your game. And you would pretty much connect. You had to be that's as far as you could get from each other. It's like a couch situation. And it would look awkward in public, but we did it. And yeah, that was multiplayer for that. Now then, that was Nintendo stuff. Let's move on to Sega, who gets its own box. the Sega stuff. And as you can see, Genesis and Dreamcast. Here's my Genesis. Not too good shape. It does work. I have played it within the last year. The controller on the other end does not work. I'll show you that in a minute. The reset button is fine. The on and off switch, that's working good. But this thing's kind of weird. I don't even know what it's for. I guess you could plug in headphones to it, but it's kind of hard to move. The back and the bottom, game exchange. Clearly, everything's second hand, but it's all working good. That's the Genesis. This was actually my. I played these equally. I would switch very often. So I really liked both Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Let's get into stuff. Genesis games, ho ho ho. Favorite part here. I love Genesis. Have, I think, an equal amount of Genesis games as Super Nintendo. Oh, no, I have more, I think. Should probably be more careful with these. Alright. Let's see. Where do I start? Oh my gosh. My first actual Genesis game was this. Mine, anyway. The others were my uncle's. He gave them to me later, but I played them all when I was a kid. This one was the only one that was claimed as mine, though. Got it for Christmas. This was World of Illusion? Yes. And pretty much you chose to play as Mickey or Donald. I have yet to still beat this game to this day. It's a platformer, but it was very fun. I enjoyed it being my only game I was allowed to play at the time because we didn't have these for a while. They weren't even mine when we had them, but I snuck plays with them. And so I don't really know a whole lot about that. I'm not going to go into detail about all these games, but this was my first technical Genesis game, and it was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And I would say if you can emulate it, pick it up. Or if you can emulate it. And if you have a Genesis and you see this in a store, pick it up and play it. It's very fun. And it's just really difficult, in my opinion. Sonic 3, my probably all-time favorite thing. Just like the Marios, Sonic the Hedgehog hits this one. And Sonic 3 was my favorite Sonic because you were able to play as Sonic, Tails, or both. And it had really nice graphic flow, everything. It was so good of a game to me. I really loved it, still have yet to beat it. But I also have a PS2 copy of the Sonic pack or something that comes with that, Sonic 1, 2, 3 stuff. And I also have Spinball, which I think was also included in the pack. Never played this on the Genesis, actually. I owned it, but I never actually played it on the Genesis. I played it on the PS2. Did not like it as much. I didn't find it very good, the Sonic franchise, but this is amazing. Mortal Kombat, kind of bad shape there. No, these games are in good 2 shape. This was very fun, but very stupid in a way, because to win it, you just had to rapid tap buttons. So, not a very good fighting game in my opinion because of how easy it was to win, but it was Mortal Kombat, and I love Mortal Kombat, and it was Ultimate Mortal Kombat, so there's that. Page Master, I didn't play a whole lot. Kind of scared me at the time because I was so young. You're like a little boy in a world. You have to go to these worlds and go through. It's a side-scroller platformer, and you had weird things coming to life. There was like a Halloween world where you had books and stuff trying to eat you, and it scared the crap out of me. So I really didn't play a whole lot of it, but I did play some, and it is interesting but difficult. And I actually emulated it on a PSP. I should probably get those out, actually. I'll get those out in a minute. But here is Page Master. It's also a fun game. You should try it out. I've played it recently. And Vector Man. I don't really remember this. This is also a platformer. But you're like a green guy, obviously. And you shoot these weird green balls. And I don't remember the point of the game. I just remember you were trying to get to the end. I would have to look up some stuff. I really haven't messed with a whole lot of this in a while, like I said. But I'm just going on an overview of what I got here. Retro game. And let's get into... Oh, knocked over my games there. Let's just push them aside. Let's get into stuff. A lot of stuff. My Genesis controller. Now, what's wrong with it? Why couldn't it work? The buttons are all working fine, obviously. You're just like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Well, where's the flaw? I think this was actually just broken right there. I don't remember what happened. But this thing does not work very well unless you adjust it into with it. I have to get a new one, but it is an original Genesis controller, which is cool. Well, actually, it may not be original. I don't know if this is the first generation of Genesis controllers, but it is a very nice controller. I enjoy it, and it's very comfortable, actually, to play the Genesis on. I enjoyed that controller. I don't remember which cables went to which. I'm pretty sure this was the Genesis's cable. I didn't have composite. I don't think they even made composite. I don't know. You had to use these weird coax cables to plug this in, and this thing works fine, but it does not look so good. And then finally, I think this one was for the Genesis. Yes, I think we had an off-brand actually. It was like a universal adapter, and the Genesis just happens to be one of the working things for it. But it's a universal adapter that works Genesis. Now on second Sega, Dreamcast. I enjoyed this console a lot, though we only had like 4 games for it and all. 5 maybe. Oh, and this, what is that? Capcom vs. SNK 2. I think this was actually at a thrift store. It's obviously bootleg or something. I really don't know. But we found it at a vintage stock store and picked it up. I remember that. Which was very weird. We thought it was weird that there's... I don't even think this is legal. Or was at the time, but we own it. It's Capcom vs. SNK 2, I guess. So yeah. There's that. Doesn't have a case, so that's probably why it's in there. Console works fine. It's very nasty. It needs to be cleaned. All the buttons on it work fine. And the ports, the back, the bottom, game exchange, seeing a pattern. I did enjoy it, though I didn't have many games to play on it. We had a Tyco RC racing game, House of the Dead, which scared me at the time, but I loved it after I got into it. And I'm trying to think. We also had Resident Evil 2, I think. I think that was made on here. I don't remember. I think there was a Resident Evil game we had on here. I just don't remember what. And then the only 2 games I actually possess now besides that bootleg thing. This was my favorite, Spawn. Actually, maybe multiple in here. It feels like stiffness on there. I don't think. There's a second disc in there. I think. Yeah, what's in there? Let's find out, everybody. Mystical Quest Together. Oh, apparently we have 4 games. There it was. 7th Cross Evolution. I don't actually know what that is. Oh, I probably shouldn't be setting them like that. It's not in too good condition. Probably needs to be cleaned up and buffered or something. I don't know what that is, so I can't really review it. I didn't know I had it, actually. Huh. Must have been one of my uncle's games. But Spawn, I do remember. It was a fast-paced fighting game, and you could run around and kick butt. That's what I loved about it. I never played the story more or less, just kept fighting my uncle on it. But it was my favorite Dreamcast game, Spawn. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Won't get into that until maybe a review of the game itself. Maybe emulated or something, because I don't have the cords for this properly working. And NBA 2K, I never really played this either because I wasn't into sports games at the time, but it does have the Dreamcast original casing, which is the reason I like it. It's kind of buffed up, scuffed, and stuff. But it does have an original Dreamcast case from Game Exchange, which is why it's the only thing I think I have as an original case besides my newer games. And the disc isn't too bad quality. So that's why I have that one still, because I love the fact that it's actually in a Genesis or a Dreamcast case. Okay. Here was the Dreamcast adapter. It was pretty similar to the Sega Genesis one. This one was, yeah, it's for the Dreamcast. Very similar. I think it was an off-brand. I think this actually had composite cable support, didn't it? Maybe not. I don't know. But this was what I used also. It was very similar to the Genesis. And here, I think, is the plug-in. Yes, I think so. This may have been for the Dreamcast, I don't know. Or the Genesis. May have been the other way around, I don't know. That's probably universal anyway. But yeah. I don't have a controller, sadly. We had one, but I lost it. Or it was lost when moving. I literally saw it, and I was like, okay, I'll get that in like a minute. That was my mistake for not getting it right away, because it was lost afterwards. Alright, so now we've covered a lot of this. But now, we're going to go into Sony, where I entered the Sony era. I went Nintendo, I went Sega, and then I went Sony. I did not go Xbox, sadly. Can't really explain much of that. But I went Sony, and my cables, they're over there. Actually, I have a bone to pick about this. Let me pull these over here. My controllers work fine. They're original controllers. All kind of scuffed a little, but they work very good. And I've used them recently because I enjoy playing on the PlayStation 2. Now here's the bone to pick. My plug-in's working fine, but I don't have an original composite cable set because they busted. And about a year ago, I went and decided, I found out these things support special component cables. See? And I was excited. I was like, oh, components, so I can do HD. And found out that was kind of cool. I never got to experience it because sadly, I can't even play this anymore for the simple fact I got rid of my composite cables because of how busted they were and they barely worked. Never even attempted these. Left them packaged for about 2 weeks after throwing out the composite cables. Finally unpackaged them, went to play a PS2 game. These don't work. I don't know why, but they won't send out audio, they won't show video, they won't do anything. I really don't know what the problem is, but it is made in China, probably some off-brand that is very crappy. So that kind of irritated me. These don't even work. So I can't play my PS2 anymore. But let's get into PS2 stuff. I don't really have anything in here, except this. It was a Guitar Hero controller adapter where the controller's over there separated from the rest of itself. And that was the wireless adapter for that. And then other things. A PS1 controller. I think this is PS1. I don't remember if it's analog 1 or 2. I think it's PS1, I think. Because this probably won't fit in here. Oh, it will. I forgot. Maybe it's backwards compatible. But yeah, that was a very cruddy old PS1 controller. Along with my second one, our off-brand PS1 controller, which was mine. I always got the off-brand. Which I think also had... it's a Mad Catz controller. I think it had special modes. Maybe it was for a auto fire and something. It was very strange, very weird to hold, and very uncomfortable in a way because it feels so weird. But it was my controller. Alright, now let's get into games. We're going to have to move for this section. The games. The games I all have are down here. I have a lot more of these games. You know what? 1 second, I will do a jump cut and we will have the games magically appear. Alright, I had to move some stuff. But I also decided to get out some other stuff, and I found out I actually do have one piece of Xbox original, because we did have one, but I never really... Oh, we don't have any more. My uncle sold it because it was his. I have an original controller, fat one, very fat controller with... It was a wireless, actually, which is why it looks weird. It was an original wireless Xbox controller, which is kind of interesting. Thought I'd share that I have that. So, yeah. Now we get into games. I also went to the trouble of getting out my PSPs for that review as well. I'm going to go to the floor, actually, here. Okay. We're going to separate these, because there's a lot of these. This is my main game console, because it was mine. The PS2 was mine in the family. My uncle had one, but not very many games for it. So, this section I can actually talk about a little bit. Not all the games were mine, originally. He had very few, but I have inherited them. Alright. Where to begin? My favorite game? Oh, here's them all. There is all the games. Nice little collection, not very many, but still some. Actually, it's not my favorite, it is one of my favorites. I got this recently, about 2 years ago. I picked it up again because I originally sold it, but it's a very fun game. Clock Tower 3. It was a $7.95 from, guess where? Game Exchange. Probably, there's no tag on here, but that's where it was from. Actually, this may have been GameStop. No, it was Game Exchange. Okay. You were like, it's a horror game. It was nothing like the originals apparently either. But I did enjoy it much. I'm not going to go into it. I'll probably do separate reviews of the games. I'm just showing you the collection right now, so I'm actually not going to get into it as much as I would love to. I did enjoy this game. I'm just going to show you. This is also where I keep the receipt. The game itself. Let's see the quality of the disc. Pretty good. A little scuffy. And my memory card, because if I ever take this to play a PS2 at someone else's house, this game always comes with. So I keep the memory card in there. I had an original Sony memory card, 8 gig. Or 8 meg, not gig. They didn't have gig in cards at the time. Alright. Next game on the list. I should probably focus on these. These are my favorite games on the PS2. This came from GameStop, of course. I did pick these up after the announcement of Birth by Sleep because I wanted to get my games back because I originally lost them. This Kingdom Hearts 1, a very good game, Disney Final Fantasy mix. It cost me 20 bucks. I never took stickers off because I'll tell you why in a minute, why the stickers are still on. But yeah, very good. And the disc casing booklet. Let's take a look at that disc. Kind of scuffy as well. I didn't take as well good at my PS2 games. I was more mature then, but not still as good at taking care of them. This is why I didn't take the stickers off. I took the stickers off this one. You can see how it warped the plastic and messed it up. I left that one on after realizing what the first two did. This is Kingdom Hearts 2. Even better. Really good sequel, in my opinion. Booklet, game. I think the disc is actually a lot better taken care of. Yes, just a little fingerprinty. It's kind of weird. Who's handled my game? A friend did borrow this, so maybe he handled it. Next, I will jump into my Mortal Kombat collection. I do enjoy Mortal Kombat quite a bit, as you can tell. Started with Deadly Alliance, and then found a pack with these three at Walmart about 3 or 4 years ago. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance was my first Mortal Kombat game on PS2. It was very fun, very violent, and good to play 2-player with. And had the 2-disc thing, which I have both. I think that's some kind of exclusive Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Song Immortal music video, probably. There's the game. I hate these casing. I'm not going to try to get that out. The booklet was very small. There you go. And then Armageddon, which was even funner because it had all the characters in it, which I love in the character creator. And the stupid racing mode, which really wasn't worth it. But I did love this very much. My favorite Mortal Kombat game probably is Armageddon. The disc, very nice. Took good care of these. These were actually new when I bought them at Walmart in the booklet. And I took better care of these because they were newer. I didn't actually get these until I owned a 360. So I took good care of my games then. Deception. Good quality. Well, there's fingerprints on that. Who handled these? Someone has handled these recently. I have lent them off. And there's the booklet. Right, it still feels new. I'm surprised I actually got these new. It was strange. But yeah. This one was not as fun. It was kind of a... It had a chess mode though, which I did enjoy. The chess combat was kind of interesting. But not my favorite. Shaolin Monks, this was very, very story-based. It was co-op too, that's why we have it. We enjoyed the co-op, but we never beat it. We got stuck fighting that guy in the middle. Actually, surprisingly enough. Goro or something? Yeah. It was in the ring of Shao Kahn. I don't remember what his name was. I think it was Shao Kahn. But this one should be in good quality. Yes. Well, for the most part. This one I did lend to a friend, I know for sure, because he enjoyed this game a lot after playing co-op with me, and I was unable to go on. So, there's that. This one I am very angry about. This is another favorite of mine. True Crime New York City. Many people will argue it was very buggy, it was stupid, it was a great game, regardless. But I'm mad because they didn't have any... I wanted to play it so bad and I wasn't willing to wait. And I haven't got new cover art yet, but there's no cover art and the case is in very bad condition. This is what GameStop gives you if they have that. There was also no manual. There's the receipt, though. And True Crime New York City. I've actually emulated this recently because I enjoy it. The disc was all messed up, too. Pre-order. Or not pre-order. Pre-owned. But it is a very fun game. I will literally... I'm probably going to review that on my own at some point. Then there's Bully. Pre-owned. I think... Yeah, this is also GameStop. This is a very fun game if you like Grand Theft Auto and you want to play a teen version. It's not rated M, it's rated T. I have it on PC and I have it on PC now, so I don't really mess with this one. But oh yeah, there's my PS1 memory card. I don't know why it's in here, but 1 megabyte PS1 memory card, piece of hardware. It's probably keeping there so I don't lose it. And there's the booklet and the receipt. The disc kind of scuffy, fingerprinty. But that's Bully. And of course, my uncle, this was originally his, but he could not sell it when he got out of gaming. And guess what it is? It's like one of the only games, I think, it may be the only game I know of that a store was not allowed to take from you. You could take it to GameStop, you could take it to Game Exchange, they'd say, no, we can't buy that, I'm sorry. What was it? First edition San Andreas. The one that got recalled because of the weird mod where nudity was enacted. And it wasn't allowed back then. See, they didn't even have a warning. And this game, it was so badly beaten. We even have the cheat codes page ripped out of the book in there, so we knew. This was actually a pre-order copy. There was all kinds of cheats we kept in there. He pre-ordered this and got it. But the disc has seen better days, if you can see that. Oh my goodness. It's awful. I'm trying to make sure you can see all the scratches. He took terrible care of this game. He would always pop it out, lay it on top of the PS2. I am also guilty of doing that when this came out, because I was young when he got this. But he gave it to me. We also have the manual in the closet somewhere. But I'm not arsed to go get it. I said arsed. That was a first edition, not the second edition. This one was the moddable one. It is PS2, and it works still, surprisingly, even though it's been badly messed up. Very nice game. Not allowed to sell it to stores. My Guitar Hero games. More recent editions. I got them just before I moved. This one was pre-owned, this one's new. And yeah, it's Guitar Hero, of course, there's nothing to say about it. It was fun for a while. Fun to play with friends, show off your skills. Not fun to really play alone, unless you were just addicted. Especially that one with Through the Fire and the Flames, that was probably it. A little scuffed. I just did that, you saw it. Scraped it along the little pop-in thing. Receipt. And let's put this out. Scuffed. Scuffy, scuffy, scuffed. Here's my Sonic collection, which I love the Sonic games. Let's see if it says all it came with. There we go. Sonic Spinball 1, 2, and 3. Dr. Robotics Mean Bean Machine, 3D Blast, and Sonic and Knuckles. That was kind of fun, actually, even though the graphics are weird. But I got this because I love the Sonic games, and I wanted to play the original 2, and Part 3 was on it, so it's great. And that's a great game. I got it pre-owned for 20 bucks. It was in good condition when I got it, though. Probably not now. Actually, it is. It's my only one without fingerprints. Just a little scratch from being spun around in the thing. But it's in better condition than the rest. Probably the best condition PS2 game I have. Actually. My first... No, not my first. I had when I got the PS2, I had 2 games. It was SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, which I have gotten rid of because it was so badly conditioned. I had to get rid of it. It didn't even work. And Attack and the Power of Juju. And then that's all I had for like a year. Then the next Christmas, here's what happened. Battlefront 2, this is in my top favorites. I'd have to think if I really want to label which one of these is my favorite, but this is in the top 10, definitely. It's a great game. I have beaten it multiple times. Ooh, very fingerprinty. Me and my friend beat this in like an hour. It was less, or it was more than that, but it was fun. Medal of Honor was my uncle's. We got it from a vintage stock. I don't enjoy it too much. It was probably one of the better Medal of Honor games, but vintage stock. Yeah, it's seen better days. We couldn't sell it to GameStop, which we tried a long time ago. Kind of glad I didn't. It's nice to have, just to have around now. And Madden 09, probably my favorite Madden game on PS2. I don't know why. It just is in the case. It was very fun when I played it, though. It is probably the only sports game I really enjoy on the anything. We pop this out. The case was, or the book's in black and white. It's seen better days. But that is my PS2 collection. I would love to go more in depth with it, and I probably will in another video when I do separate things with these consoles. So I'll probably review them separately, and in the future maybe go in more depth with my game collection as it grows. Now the PSPs. This is my first one, actually. I got this originally. I dropped it. This story is very funny. I was getting out of the truck I was in, and well, it's all working nice except for the switch and the obvious. Other than that, it's working great. It still works, actually. My headphones wrapped around my ankle, and when I threw my foot out the door to step onto the ground, this thing went soaring through the air. Slid across the concrete, and there's the aftermath. That was literally one thing. That's the only thing that caused that. I don't know how it was so bad. But because of this is going to sound bad, my aunt, this is their story, I don't know if this is true. They said they were walking by the game exchange and found this in the parking lot. And it's in really good condition, excluding this one thing right here. It's just kind of iffy. Other than that, it is in great condition. Oh, and this thing does not like to open very easily. There's Birth by Sleep, which I was playing recently in there. And yeah, that is my PSPs. No real stories behind those, because I didn't have a whole lot of games on them. Here's the only 2 I have left. I did have GTA games on them, but not anymore. Monster Hunter Freedom 2, very fun game. I recommend it to anybody PSP-wise, and it is very fun. I got it pre-owned, and I enjoy this game so much. I never beat it, of course. But I did enjoy how the PSP games looked, and surprisingly enough, if anyone does not know this, I'll just give a little bit of trivia. If you take these off, you can put these discs in there actually safely. You can take off these casings, and the game will load faster. Don't know why. But yeah. Just, I never did it myself. Because I like the little casing. And Birth by Sleep, I pre-ordered. This game, went and picked it up right after school. This was my favorite. And got in the truck, played it, went nuts after it was released, because it was literally the closest we had heard to Kingdom Hearts 3 at the time, the only one based truly on story, which you saw the game was in there. Actually, I'm probably never going to play it anytime soon because I got it emulated now. Yes, pop back in there. And there was that, the code has already been used, don't even try it. And it gave me a free wallpaper for my PSP. Very good condition. This was pre-ordered long after that situation. This game is the best condition game I probably own. Birth by Sleep. Actually, no, it's not, but Birth by Sleep. Very fun game. And I'll get into that in a separate thing. I'll do these all separately at some point, I remember, because yeah. I'll explain at the end of the video. These have no real purpose in the video, I just wanted to throw them in here. Retro, they're not really retro. Nintendo DS, the last remnants of it. My Platinum and Diamond and Pearl guidebooks. Nothing really to say there. And the final part of all retro, which this isn't even retro, but it was last gen now, technically. It's considered an old console now, I guess. 2005 or 6. The Xbox. I'm not going to pull it out because I actually still use it. The Xbox. Try to keep you out of the fan there. I have the newest one, the Slim. Actually, that may not be the newest, but I think it was the Slim. The newer model, and didn't break. And I'm not even going to get into the games and stuff because I have a lot of them. And it's still not that old. There's all the games. Grand Theft Auto 4. Favorite game on it probably was this. It's probably my best quality game actually, because I pre-ordered this. I didn't even pre-order it. I went and picked it up the day of release, but I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, and the Xbox controller holds them all up. Let me see if I can slide this back in there. Yeah. But that is it. As far as retro goes, that is my retro gaming room. So this has been a long video of 47 minutes. So why am I doing this? My YouTube channel, I'm taking a different spin on it. I'm gonna try to do more videos this summer because I'm just now getting out of college. Not finished, but for the semester I got the summer off. And I'm going to Hawaii, so be looking at that. I'll be putting up some videos. I'm going to Hawaii in about a week. In 2 days. 10 days from now. Or 9. 9 days. 10 still. Okay. So that's a separate subject. I will take a new thing. The RPG Maker videos I'm not even going to get into because I'm still going to do that. Trust in me. Trust in me. Give me time. I know you give me so much time. I don't deserve it. But you're good for staying subscribed. I'm going to start doing separate videos on these all, where I will review gameplay, the console itself, what I have, and maybe my collection will grow and I'll show you more as it does. But I wanted to finally do this because I never did when I moved here. Like I planned my retro game room, which isn't retro anymore. This is even the original room. But thanks for watching. And like I said, keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to start doing stuff like this. I'm going to take a spin. I'm thinking about changing it. So, I don't even want to say this. I'm thinking about changing my channel name to Sinkay's Tech Network because it's not only going to be focused on games now, but different things. So, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have anything to say to me. Send me a message. I will be glad to reply. I don't get any messages, of course, so it'll be very easy. Give me a quick reply. And subscribe as always to keep up with what's going on here. The channel is called SGN, Sinkay's Gaming Network, but I'm thinking about changing it to Sinkay's Tech Network or something like that. You'll see it when it happens. I'll announce it. But for now, it's still SGN, so thanks for subscribing. Keep up, subscribe to keep up with what's going on at SGN. And I will see you in the next series of videos I might do separately of these at a later time, but I probably need to go to sleep. It's like 4 in the morning. But yeah. I will be glad to see you in the next video. I want to see you. Next video, I'm prolonging this, will probably be a review of something along the lines of this, or the GoPro. I am going to do a video on the GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black. But anyway, goodbye.